When I first started training, I was definitely one of these people that felt like I was killing myself in the weight room every day, but not quite seeing the results I wanted. I was working out 6 to 7 days a week for hours at a time. I was even breaking into the school to work out. My football coach was happy about that. The police, not so much. And I think there's three common reasons this sort of thing happens. The first one is your nutrition. If you are in a extreme calorie deficit, you will not gain any muscle. If you have inadequate protein intake, you won't gain any muscle. It's literally what muscles are made out of. And if you're only taking in a few proteins, your body's going to take those amino acids and use them for much less important things than muscles, like your brain, your eyes, your heart. Muscle is kind of a luxury for your body. It's not going to prioritize that and build muscle right away. You have to have amino acids left over for muscle protein synthesis. Your sleep is also huge. A lot of growth is done during sleep, and just overall recovery is done during sleep. If you have poor sleep hygiene, the chances of you sticking to a regimented training program is very low, and the chances of you growing near your potential is also very low if you're not sleeping. And the last one I'm going to talk about is your stimulus to fatigue ratio, SFR for short. If you have really poor SFRs for all your exercises or your session as a whole, you're going to feel exhausted. It's going to beat you up. You're going to be sore. Your joints are going to hurt, but you're not going to see the results you want because you're not getting as much stimulus as you could be out of each exercise, but you are getting much more fatigue than you need. This is the opposite of what you want. And the most common reason I see for poor SFRs is exercise execution. If you're lifting extremely heavy weights with poor technique, it's going to beat you up. It's going to make you tired, but it might not bring you much stimulus. With each exercise, know the muscle you're trying to work and do the exercise in a manner that stimulates that muscle as much as possible. If your goal is growth, no one cares how much weight you're lifting. You shouldn't care how much weight you're lifting either. All you should care about is the amount of stimulus you're getting from each exercise, each set, each rep. Another common reason for having a poor SFR is you're doing too much work per session. All right, so if you're training your chest and you do the first 10 sets, you're probably going to have a great SFR if your exercise execution is good. But you start pushing it to 15, 20 sets for one muscle group, your SFR is going to go down. You're not going to get near as much stimulus and you're going to get more and more fatigue. You'd be better off just splitting up your volume through more sessions and opposed to trying to do 20, 25 sets per muscle group in a single session. Also, quit doing tons of sets of 1, 2, or 3. Maxing out all the time is not a good way to grow muscle. Maxing out is how you show your strength you've built, not grow muscle. Really anything under 5 reps has a poor SFR in general. Reps 5 to 30 are where you want to be at. Stop maxing out all the time. And the third one that has to do with SFR, much less common but still a possibility, is your exercise selection isn't where it should be. And this takes either a coach or years of training to kind of know exactly which exercises work best for you. Not all exercises are great for every person. There might be some exercises that just don't work very well for you, and that's something you have to find out through training or working with the coach. And there is a system to rate the amount of stimulus you get per exercise and the amount of fatigue per exercise. I can go over that another time or comment. I'll send you a link to a guide for that. And lastly, this one's probably the most common, is your expectations are too high. Realistically, without anabolics anyway, you're not going to gain pounds and pounds of muscle every month, maybe half a pound if you're doing really good work. The best way, there's lots of research done on how much muscle you can exactly grow, and of course there's a varying range there based on who you are and how trained you are. But if you stick to, you're in a calorie surplus, your nutrition is good, your exercise execution is good, and if you're gaining half a pound, or not half a pound, 0.5% body weight to 1.5% body weight per week, you're going to be gaining just about as much muscle as you can. You don't need to gain 5 pounds a week. Your body's just not going to grow muscle that fast. You will gain fat. But if you keep it within that 0.5% body weight to 1.5% body weight per week, and you stick to that, your nutrition is good, your training is good, you will grow about as much muscle as you can possibly can without anabolics.